Okay. First of all, I'm excited to be here and be able to talk to you all. Be here in Second Life. This is just really exciting for me. It's my first time really being in Second Life, and it really feels like we're here. It's a very engaging environment, and as I attended the other session, I was afraid that maybe I get too engaged and wouldn't make it here on time and get stuck in traffic. But the traffic was not too bad. Scotty beamed me up all right, and I think that I showed up here. Do I have all my parts and pieces? Do I look normal? I was told last time I looked abnormal. I'm hoping that I do. Okay, well, I was told that I looked like a ghost last time. So, first I'd like to talk about, I probably won't be watching the instant message so much while I'm presenting here, just because this is a new environment to me, and as I observed others, it was really easy to get overloaded with all the information, and might feel like a new group counselor just learning to lead a group and get overwhelmed with all the information. So I probably won't do that. First of all, though, as I look at this topic, I want to first give some background about why I chose to address this topic and why I think it is important. I'll then address factors contributing to the therapeutic alliance and ways to assess the alliance without significant interruptions in the counseling process. I'll give examples of ways to assess the alliance that are useful and simple. And then we'll look at therapeutic interventions to assist in overcoming ruptures to the therapeutic alliance. I think this topic first started developing for me when I was being asked to identify my specific theoretical orientation while in my master's program. With hundreds of theories that have been developed, of those that I had read, none of them could come close to explaining all the factors that contributed to human behavior and thus behavior change, and so really struggled with sorting those out. I saw people as immensely complex and knew early on that I would have to be able to see clients through many different lenses in order to be most effective with a wide range of clients. As I ventured into the profession as a new counselor, I found that the more I learned of theory and approaches, the more they sounded the same with different seemingly packaging for it. But I was constantly looking for and searching for new and better ways to approach difficulties with my clients. Many of these were very useful in both explaining why clients do what they do, but also in bringing about change. I also found, however, that it didn't seem to matter so much what interventions we used as it mattered how strongly we had a relationship. And this was the determining effect of the interventions. I was able to practice for 5 years in Idaho before coming to do my doctoral studies in Alabama at Auburn University, and was able to see a lot of different kinds of clients during that time. I really believe that if we are very skilled at building that relationship, then we'll not only find the best interventions for each client, but more skillfully carry those interventions out. I found my personal experiences with these somewhat validated when I came across the book, The Heart and Soul of Change, What Works in Therapy, by Hubble and Duncan and Miller. In this book, which many of you are probably familiar with, I was introduced to the ongoing debate concerning common factors. This was based first on Saul Rosenzweig, his observation that all theoretical approaches to counseling can be effective. He borrowed the quote of Adolbert in Lewis Carroll's Alice in Adventures in Wonderland, stating that everybody has won and all must have prizes. This later became known as the Dodo Bird verdict. Other meta-analyses since that time, or more recently, have validated his assertion, stating that most of the change in clients' outcomes can better be explained by common factors of counseling approaches than by their differences, so that they have more in common than they have different, and that those commonalities account for most of the change. In 1992, Michael D. Lambert did an extensive empirical review of the literature that covered decades of literature and found four principal elements accounting for improvement in those undergoing psychotherapy. These were extra therapeutic or environmental or situational factors that came with the client. Second, common factors that were found in almost all theoretical approaches. Third, expectancy or placebo, which can be attributed to hope. And lastly, for model and technique. The extra therapeutic factors are largely out of the counselor's direct influence, but can be affected through social advocacy and empowering the client to change those factors that may not be directly associated with the client, yet have an effect on them. Expectancy is in part a freebie because of the image the client has of the profession and their hope that you will be able to bring about change. This is evident in the fact that many clients experience a decrease in aversive symptoms after only studying the first appointment. So I think we like to think that we're the only ones that bring about change, but just sometimes making that phone call is a factor. I believe model and technique are where we tend to focus on the most. This comes out of our own desire to constantly improve our ability to bring about change. It may also come out of our own struggle to deal with the reality that there is much that is not within our control to change. I believe this is a worthwhile pursuit, but fear that we too often seek the novel and forget about where the bulk of the change is brought about. If instead we focus on improving the common factors, we focus on the largest portion within our control, and that affects change. The common factors that are most often identified are the healing context, the belief in the rationale for the efficacy of therapy by the client and by the therapist, the therapeutic alliance, therapeutic procedures consistent with the client's understanding of his or her problems, the development of increased self-efficacy and to solve one's problems and remoralizing. Excuse me, I've got a cold. Hopefully I don't lose my voice through this. I couldn't figure out how to make my avatar take a drink either. Okay. From these studies, they found that the alliance between the counselor and the client is thought to be the biggest factor of any contributing to the